Okay, hello everybody. I'm going to do my best to keep this in 5 minutes to present on a little bit of the work that we've been doing to conserve free-ranging dogs in the Waterberg with Tabazimbi farmers. Okay, so just briefly, the Waterberg is a very mountainous region that's found in the north of Pretoria. It's a very important area for conservation because there's a lot of endemic species found in the region. And now many of the land uses are actually conducive to still conserving large free-roaming predators like African wild dogs. Wild dogs are an endangered species. There's less than 600 left in South Africa, and most dogs are now occurring inside of formerly protected areas. So dogs outside of these fenced areas, outside of these formerly protected areas are very, very rare. And they can be very difficult to conserve in fenced areas because they require huge landscapes to range across, and they are notorious fence breakers. The Waterberg wild dog population is one of South Africa's last free-roaming African wild dog populations, and primary threats to the dogs in this area are persecution, snaring, road collisions, and disease. And then considering the current financial value of game, we sit with a situation where dogs are now being persecuted for predating on natural prey in their natural environment. And yeah, it's a very difficult type of conflict to mitigate. The Waterberg Wild Dog Initiative is the organization that I work for. It was founded in 2020 to work within the community to better conserve this population. So much of our work focuses on monitoring and collecting data, providing education, raising awareness, mitigating threats, and trying to promote the long-term potential for African wild dog conservation in this area. To give a bit more of a specific look at some of the work we're doing, I'd like to share some of the efforts that we've had with one of the resident packs. We began working with the Tuch pack. It's an Afrikaans acronym, and my apologies for the way that I pronounce it. We began working with the Tuch pack in the community very shortly after the WWDI was founded and just after their 2020 denning season. In the last 3 years, the pack has grown in numbers, successfully denning the last 4 years in a row with very, very high pup survival rates. The pack currently ranges across 125,000 hectares in the northern part of the Waterberg, which takes them over 55 different privately owned properties. So just to put things into perspective, this map illustrates the boundary fences of most of those properties. Most of these properties are lifestyle farms or game ranches. Many actually don't derive an income from their farm at all. And for the ones that do, many derive an income from hunting, some ecotourism lodges. There's a few livestock farms, but the majority of these are game farms. To mitigate threats in this environment is very challenging. We put a lot of emphasis on collecting accurate data. Accurate data helps us better understand the pack and the threats that they may face in this area. We also make use of tracking collars, field monitoring, and citizen science to get this data. The data helps us better understand the population, but it's only going to be useful to the community if it's actually communicated to them. One of the most beneficial platforms we've established has been a dedicated community WhatsApp group for the residents of the pack's range, where we can provide updates on the dog's movements, share information, answer questions, and sometimes have some healthy debates. We also privately contact landowners in the immediate area of the dogs on a daily basis to inform them more precisely about where the dogs are and address any sort of concerns that they may have. This information allows landowners to see the wide range that the dogs are using, but also proactively safeguard any sort of high-value game animals or try and see the dogs while they're passing through. Monitoring the pack has also helped us identify areas of potentially high impacts, like the areas around den sites where the dogs are stationary for an extended period of time to raise their pups. This pack has denned on the same private property. It's only 1,800 hectares in size for the last 4 years, and we've implemented projects to assist this property and their neighboring properties during this time of high impact. One of our biggest projects is our ecotourism project, which brings guests in to see the pack during their denning season. Guests are taken to an area near the pack's den site where the pack is called in to feed on a provided game carcass and allow for incredible viewing opportunities. Providing the game carcasses helps us supplement the pack's diet and reduce the number of times they're hunting, hopefully lessening the impact on those properties. This model was first developed by the Endangered Wildlife Trust in 2018, and we've now adapted it and implemented it for 3 years in a row with the Tuch pack. Last year, we also managed to work with Lyacon to donate 75 impalas from an overstocked provincial reserve back to these private properties that hosted the pack during their denning season. And we're hoping to replicate this project going forward because feedback from the community showed us that they much preferred this method of conflict mitigation to the other ones that we implemented. And I promise you, they were the most important 75 impala moved last year. So in conclusion, we're getting the information that's been needed by the community to better understand and conserve the dogs in their area. We also now have a more informed look as to how the Waterberg population currently fits and can potentially fit into broader strategic African wild dog conservation efforts and plans. We're also starting to see the impact that our efforts to conserve these dogs are having. In the last year, we've recorded natural dispersals from both resident packs. We've also been able to use our knowledge of the population to assist in using Waterberg dogs to form new, stable resident packs in formerly protected areas, which shows the community that there is real conservation value in safeguarding the animals on their properties. By prioritizing the conservation of this population, we're also prioritizing the efforts of the community that are invested in these dogs and showing farmers that there's a point to allowing the dogs to eat some of their impala as they pass through. And then efforts to conserve these free-ranging dogs in the Waterberg are important now, but I think they're going to become increasingly important as we look towards the future of South Africa's African wild dog conservation strategy. Last but not least, this could not have been done without the Waterberg community, our partners, donors, and supporters. Thank you.